Hey, what's up guys, autofanatic. So this is going to be the 2-year updated ownership review of my Alfa Romeo Stelvio TI Sport. So I can't believe how fast time has come and gone since I shot the 1-year ownership review video, but I'm just going to do some errands now, then I'm going to pull over, I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of little quirks and things that have happened during the ownership over the last 12 months. We got about 16,300 miles in the car. The mileage would be much higher if a majority of everyone wasn't working from home for the past 12 plus months. So I'm going to pull over in a couple of minutes and I'm going to talk to you guys about some of the things that I still love about the car. And of course, everybody's going to be asking, do you still recommend it? Are you going to trade it in and get something new? And you guys are going to probably want to stay tuned and listen to what I have to hear about that, because like I said, aside from little quirks that I go through with any of my cars, there's always going to be something that outweighs those little issues that some people will complain about. I mean, listen, when it comes to cars, somebody could have issues with tech and say, hey, the screen is too laggy or it takes too long, and they'll just despise the car, hate the car, and lemon load a car. I don't buy cars for that. I buy them for a little bit different reasons, and I think when you guys watch my channel, you guys will get it. So I'll see you guys in a couple of minutes, and I'll talk to you guys more about the 2-year ownership of the Stelvio TI Sport. So stay tuned. All right, guys, just pull over. Let's get out, and we'll talk about the Stelvio TI Sport on the 2nd year of ownership. So I have some bad news to report that this particular Stelvio incurred some cosmetic damage over the last 12 months. I'm going to show you guys in detail exactly what I'm talking about. So the first issue that happened is the front windshield got blown out on the New York State Thruway. A huge rock went right through the window, and that had to get replaced. So what we ended up doing, we went through insurance, we have glass coverage, we went through Safe Light Auto Glass. Now, we contacted the dealer, they said, yeah, that's no problem, they could do it, no big deal. But here's the issue, when we had the windshield replaced, I don't think they put OEM. Let me just double check. I don't really know how to check for OEM, to be honest with you, on that, but I don't think they did OEM, and it's most likely aftermarket. This is where an issue has now come above. This car has forward collision warning system that's built in, which basically will beep and apply the brakes if you get too close to a car in front of you. Ever since we had the windshield replaced, we have a fault for the FCW that shows up on the dash. I'm going to show you guys real quick. This is a screenshot that I took this morning. Every time I start the vehicle, the fault code comes up, and we actually have it deactivated through the main menu in the system on the infotainment center. So that's something that's got to be addressed by the dealer soon. Now, other than that, as far as cosmetics, we got a nasty, actually 2 areas that got dinged really badly. This one happened right over here at the train station. I'm going to have the paintless dent guy come over to the house, and we're going to do a video on that soon. But something really weird happened back here, and I don't think you're going to be able to see this on camera. Possibly maybe you'll see the waves, but there's 2 creases right along here and right along here. And the only thing that I've made sense of this all is that somebody with a pickup truck or commercial vehicle that had those long extended mirrors parked next to the car, and as it was turning and backing out of a spot, the mirror grazed against the car, and being it had so much mass, it actually caused a crease ding up and down. So that's going to be a little bit of a bitch. Actually, when that happened, I almost thought that something that I carried in the car smashed into the interior panel and caused a dent, but that's not the issue. So that's problem number 2. So we got a ding on the fender, and we got those 2 creases up there. Now, we had a really bad winter in New York, and I'll tell you one thing, I don't know what they were throwing down for salt this year, but if you look carefully, it actually rusted out the wheel weights. Not a huge deal, but that is a little bit annoying that it actually happened on this car, and it also happened on our Infiniti Q50 Red Sport that stays outside, we had that prior to this. So the wheels are phenomenal. No issues with that. I still am not a fan of the Continental tires. I had plans to do the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S months ago. However, when I called the tire rack, they were out of stock because there's so many shortages right now, still with this COVID situation, and everything is over the map. I actually have a guy that keeps emailing me to buy the used tires, and he's local, and I feel bad because I want to put the new tires on here because I think the SUV, this particular car, would feel phenomenal. Now, another thing I want to talk about on this car, besides that, we ended up getting a blowout. I didn't get the blowout, she got the blowout. So she hit the tire, it blew it out, no damage to the wheel. So the one thing that really caused a nightmare that day, this actually happened the day that I shot the video of the Maserati Ghibli Trofeo. So if you look here, this is the back, so you got to excuse it. It's a little messy. So you look back here, we have the space saver spare, the jack, all the good stuff, right? However, when we went to go change the tire, there was no lug wrench. So we had to run over to a store and buy a 4-way lug wrench to get the wheel off because we didn't have any tools with us when this happened. And this was way upstate, about 2 hours north of where I am right now. So that was a little issue. Now, I did email and contact the selling dealer, but like I said, we're going back now 2 years. I'm going to say, hey, my lug wrench is missing. They say, oh yeah, we'll mail you one. I haven't received that yet, so I'm not really going to make a big stink about it because I just bought one of these and leave it in the back and we just throw it back there whatsoever. Other than that, the paint looks phenomenal. Like I said, no special care. I never polished it. I pretty much just wash it with the autofanatic car care, and I use the autofanatic 007 ceramic on it, and like I said, it looks freaking great. So another thing, just show you guys the interior. Everything looks well. It's wearing out well. I mean, you're getting a little bit of leather cracking here, which is normal, you know, for the in and out of the car. And I actually should do something with this. I actually should do some conditioning and cleaning on this soon, but I think I'm gonna have to work on that when time permits. But this is like our knock around daily driver car, and it gets beat up and all of that. But if you look at it, based on the materials in here, everything looks good. It's clean, it's nice. I still love the red interior, and it's really, really sharp. And the one thing I tell you, every time we go somewhere with this car, it always attracts attention, and it's got the style and the look, and we just love it. It's unique. And I'm really satisfied with the color combination of the Monte Carlo blue with the narrow pack and the red interior. We just think this is like one of the best specs because it's sporty and it's elegant, and it just really shows off the lines of this car really, really well. Other than that, everything is, you know, pretty much good to go. Now, aside from, I'm gonna start the car for a minute. I'll show you guys something else. Now, I did another oil change on this a number of months back, and you go through the menu here. Let's see if the screen will even turn on now. Oh, here we go. Now the screen, there we go. So we go into car, right? We'll go into car, and you go here, you push down, you're just gonna push down on this. Now you're gonna go through maintenance, so you see it'll give you the TPMS sensors, maintenance and all that. Now oil level. Now this is an issue with this particular car. This motor, the 4-cylinder turbocharged motor, does not have a mechanical dipstick. And I don't care whether it's Alfa Romeo, it's Mercedes, BMW, I cannot stand when manufacturers use these electronic leveler. They're trying to make all this stuff dealer only and whatnot. That's just what's going on. So even though this shows up at the 3/4 mark, you can see that a little bit less, right? When we did the oil change, we filled it up exactly to capacity. We started the car up, it was fine. The oil level went to 100%. We drove it a little bit, we came back home, of course the oil warmed up so then we went to go get in the car again, and there was a freaking red fault code that the crankcase was overfilled. So I said to myself, how could that be? We used the exact same quantity of oil, we put a new filter in, did all that. So got the car up in the air, I undid the panel on the bottom, which is a huge pain in the neck because of all the hardware, and I drained out very carefully 1 quart of oil. We did that, the fault code went out, and then the oil level here went to the 50% mark. So just to let you guys know, like, this is an issue. This motor does burn oil. They're notorious for that. And I think the problem with this motor is there's no dipstick, so you can't physically check it, okay? And you're relying on a gauge that is most likely always gonna be faulty. This is a problem. Now, on my Quadrifoglio, my oil level is always at 3/4, but on my dipstick, it's always full. So that's why I think for safety, this definitely annoys me. I don't like that about this motor, and it really, really bothers me. Now, when I was over at the dealer when my car was getting fixed, my Giulia was getting fixed, there were about 8 crates of these motors that were outside the shop that were warranted. Now, why are they probably warranted? Because the dealership tells you you do an oil change once a year every 10,000 miles. Well, you have a faulty gauge here, you have no dipstick, people are leasing these things, they're driving it, they're not really paying attention, and what's happening? The engines are blowing up because the engines are known to consume oil, and you don't have an accurate means of measuring what the oil level is on a regular basis. So just want to let you guys know, if anybody's looking to purchase one of these pre-owned or new, this is definitely something to be concerned about. It definitely bothers me. Is the 2021, 2022 model different? I don't know. If anybody knows, post it in the comments below. But I just want to let you guys know that it's a little bit of an issue that I have experienced with our Stelvio TI. And like I said, I'm really, really careful with this thing. And now that the level, constantly keeps fluctuating, I may put 20% more of a little bit of top off. I may throw a little bit, but I'm scared that if I do that, it's going to say the crankcase is overfilled again. I got to drain it out, and then it's going to go to halfway mark, and it's going to make everybody scared. Now, another thing too, there's been a recall on this car that we have to also get fixed. So when we're going to bring this car to dealer soon, we want to get the forward collision warning thing done. So if you look up here, this is where the forward collision camera is, and when they changed the window, they said that they calibrated this. I have no idea what's involved in that. All I know is that I was trying to shoot a video of them doing the window because the Safe Light place is not far from home, and they would not allow me in the shop to shoot the video for insurance reasons. But I'll tell you now that they got the window, the original window out and the new window in like 15 minutes. It was like one of the quickest things I've ever seen. No damage to the car, there's no wind noise, no water leaking, so everything's fine. The only issue is the forward collision warning is not working properly. So aside from the recall, there's some sort of programming issue that's got to get sorted out where it has something to do, I think, with the fuel pump or the fuel gauge. Now, she panics all the time because the fuel will be at halfway, then it'll rapidly drop to to a quarter tank, and all of a sudden she'll be driving maybe 10, 15 minutes, it goes from a quarter tank, then the light comes on, and it'll tell you have a range of 20 miles or 30 miles to go, when theoretically, if you have a quarter of a tank, you should have much more distance of a range. So we definitely think that there's something wrong with the fuel sender, or it's a programming issue with the gauge on how it's reading on our particular car. It's a known problem. If you look it up on the forums and look it up in Google, this is an issue, and basically it's just a programming issue through the main CAN bus in the car, and supposedly the software will correct the issue. Now, if the software doesn't correct the issue, then most likely either the gauge cluster would have to be replaced or the sender in the fuel tank would need to be replaced. It's getting to a point where, that's definitely a little worrying because she takes this car and I take this car on long trips. So if you do run out of gas, you're going to be in trouble. So that's a little bit nervous. I don't ever like being in the car. I've owned vintage cars my whole life since I'm a kid, right? And gas gauges on a vintage car never work. You just never rely on it. They're always inaccurate. They just never work. So when you're driving and you have that uneasy feeling of possibly running out of gas and there's no fuel stations around if you're in an unknown destination, that does create a little bit of a panic, and I don't really like that. So we're going to bring the car in. We're going to get the forward collision warning system looked at. We're also going to get the gauge looked at as well. Now, also, another thing that happened is when the windshield was replaced, the alarm now is going off like crazy. So when we get in the car in the morning, it'll say break-in attempted. It'll light up over here in yellow, and that'll indicate that somewhere along the evening hours, the alarm was going off or somebody banged into the car. But it's been happening so often that it's obviously related to something that happened with the windshield or something that's going on with up here, because I know the sensor for the alarm is up here, and this was replaced on my car and this car, and now it's causing issues again. So I think it's just one of those little quirks of this particular, the Alfa Romeo cars right now, that this alarm situation, if you leave your car outside, I think this is going to be one of those things where you're just going to have to deal with it, okay? Either you love the car, you hate the car, but if it drives you nuts, then I'm going to let you guys know right away. If this is one of those little quirks that's a total deal breaker, then just walk away. Don't even consider this car, because there's a very good probability that you may be faced with a stupid little glitch like that with the alarm going off of your neighbors or people complaining about the noise. So other than that, I mean, like I said, we still love the car. No regrets whatsoever. Just wanted to give you guys an update as far as what's going on with it. And people are going to be asking me like, hey, would you recommend it still? Would you keep it? Yes, I still highly recommend it. I still think it's one of the best looking SUVs, one of the best driving SUVs. It's got the best steering absolutely out of any SUV out there that you're going to buy, even the ones from Porsche and Audi and everything else that's much more expensive. Now, for the money, you can't beat this thing. I mean, you lease these things for, $400 or something a month, $500 a month. And like I said, it's got the looks, it's got the style, it's sporty. The steering is dynamic, the handling is awesome. I still don't like the throttle lag. Now, when I shot my 1-year video, a lot of you guys reached out to me. You checked out the sprint boosters, which is like a thing that goes under the pedal. A lot of guys did piggyback tunes. A lot of people that reported back to me said, Phil, this did not 100% correct the problem. So that's why I never pursued it further, because so many people contacted me, said, hey, you know what, I noticed the same thing in my car, I'm trying to fix it. So considering that I never got anybody that says, hey, this is a permanent fix, I didn't go out and do it, because I'm just gonna waste my time and waste my money. So other than that, like I said, the car is awesome, we love it. Will we get another one? I think the probability is probably 100%, because I don't think there's going to be anything out there that's going to pretty much compare for the value and the driving dynamics and the performance. I think if I do it again, if I was to go and do this again, there's probably a higher probability of me buying the Quadrifoglio. Just because I like the power, I like the sound, and I think it would just be a hell of a lot cooler to have, right? The braking system, it's okay. It's not the greatest. I think the better brake pads and, better braking programming could be better, but for the way that we're using this as a daily driver in New York, we're lugging stuff around, we're taking longer trips with it, we're banging around potholes, the car is phenomenal. Now, another thing I want to tell you too, when I just mentioned potholes, after this winter in New York, which was really, really rough, the roads got really bad. Now, this car has a sport suspension, and I'm going to tell you now, if you're a little bit worried about where you live and where you drive, these tires are not the greatest for comfort, okay? They're a little noisy, they're a little harsh with the sidewalls. But we've noticed that the suspension and the ride quality, it's firm, it's sporty, but it can be a little rough right now. So if anybody out there is concerned about where you live, I would highly suggest to consider maybe a Lusso model, or don't get the sport model and get the one with the options of the adaptive dampeners. I think it would totally solve that issue, because like I said, the suspension right now, it's firm, it's sporty, it's awesome, but when the roads get really beat up, it's gonna jostle you, and it's gonna be a little bit harsh. So that's pretty much it. So that's the 2 years of owning my Alfa Romeo Stelvio TI Sport. Showed you a little bit about the quirks, some of the little issues that happen through owning the car as a daily driver. Anybody's got questions, you could always contact me direct through the AutoFanatic website. My email is always posted in all my videos. And like I said, anybody out there that's also had your Stelvio for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, I want to hear from you guys. Post it in the comments below. Let me know how you guys like the car. Let me know if you had any quirks or similar issues that I had with mine. But like I said, the little things that have happened with my car are not enough for me to say I hate the car or want to get rid of the car. I still love the car. We love the car. We don't think we would go and get the Tonale when it comes out. I just think it's going to be too small, and we really like the size of this. And the only thing that I probably would change is I probably would do the Quadrifoglio model, just because I personally would just enjoy it more. But like I said, when this car is coming at you, it just looks so good. It looks elegant. It looks sporty. And everywhere we go, we get complimented on this vehicle. Between the contrast of the wheels, the red calipers, the red interior, the narrow package, it just looks freaking awesome. And we're really, really happy with it. And before I leave this video, if anybody's got a Stelvio and wants to trailer hitch or throw some bikes on for your kids, I did a video on this a number of months back over the summer. This was an absolute nightmare. If you guys are planning on ever putting a hitch on your car, watch that video, because I don't think I recommend you guys doing it on your own. You should probably bring it to a professional shop or someone that's going to really charge you a lot of money to do it. But this was a nightmare. And to be honest with you, after all the work that I put into doing this, I only use it like 3 times, because of course, everybody's been home and not really doing much, and that's pretty much it. Oh, while we're back here, let me just show you something else about wear and tear. So these exhaust finishers, these are like part of the bumper, right? So you see the pipe that fits in there? So if you look carefully, it's got that black finish, and right here, the finish is starting to peel away. Okay, that's just another little wear and tear thing. Not really sure. I may bring that up if I remember, and see if they could actually warranty this, okay? Because that definitely looks a little annoying. These are probably stainless. I don't think these are regular mild steel, because if they were, you would start seeing some rust over there. So that's just something else. While I'm back here, just wanted to point that out to you. So thanks for watching this video. Stay tuned for more content. If you guys have the Stelvio, drive it, enjoy it, take care of it. It's freaking awesome. And it's also an incredible value. So that's pretty much the main thing. The car's got awesome DNA, drives awesome. Will they change the platform and make it cheaper and not as good in the future? We don't really know. So for what we got now, the Giorgio platform is phenomenal. Buy it, enjoy it, lease it. Don't have questions about it. People question me all the time in my 1 year video, hey, how reliable is it? I'm gonna tell you, car never broke down. The only time we had the flat and we didn't have a lug wrench, I think that was manufacturer or dealer prep error, why the lug wrench was missing from the back. But other than that, not a huge deal. We got back in the road, and we still enjoy the car daily. And no real complaints. I mean, I can't really complain about it, because we love the car daily. So thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe. Stay tuned. I'll see you guys in the next one soon. Take care, guys.